Welcome to Orchestrate All the Things. I'm George Anatiotis and we'll be connecting the dots together. Stories about technology, data, AI, and media and how they flow into each other, shaping our lives. This is an AI-generated narrative of my latest article.
What's New in AI? Part 1. Generative AI with Dan Jeffries. On Stability AI and Stable Diffusion's Rise to Prominence, Open Source, Business Models, AI, Use Cases, and How to Use and Fine-Tune Stable Diffusion. What's new in AI? That may sound like a moot question for a domain that has been moving extremely fast and making the news on a daily basis for the last few months. That, however, is precisely what makes it relevant. Framed differently, that question may as well read: when drowning in information overload, how do you sort the wheat from the chaff? This is what we asked ourselves when we sat down with O'Reilly in late 2022 to brainstorm on a new series of events that would highlight the most relevant new developments in AI. In What's New in AI, we connect with leading minds in the field on topics such as generative AI, large language models, responsible AI, AI hardware, and other developments as they appear. Our first What's New in AI topic was generative AI. Since these events are planned months in advance, part of the challenge is finding topics that will still be relevant at the time the event takes place. Generative AI seemed like a safe bet in that respect, and Dan Jeffries seemed like an ideal guest as well. Dan Jeffries is the managing director of the AI Infrastructure Alliance, and we had a very interesting conversation on AI previously. Jeffries is also the former CIO at Stability AI, the company behind Stable Diffusion. As Jeffries explained, he was keeping an eye on Stable Diffusion from its early days. Even though initially Stable Diffusion was rather unimpressive, Jeffries related that he realized its potential immediately. He decided to get involved as soon as he saw what he described as big leaps in capabilities. Jeffries went on to claim that models like Stable Diffusion were part of the reason why OpenAI decided to release ChatGPT when they did, as they did not want to be left behind. At the same time, Jeffries acknowledged that many AI companies are not on target. The reason, he said, is a fundamental misunderstanding. There was a bit of a mistake in our thinking. We thought every company was going to have hundreds of data scientists doing advanced machine learning, and it just isn't going to work out that way. The truth is that it's too low level, too complicated, too expensive. Both in terms of people and compute, most people are never going to function at that level. For Jeffries, the way AI is more likely to pan out is by having different organizations each contribute a part in an open source stack that other organizations will be able to build on. Something like the equivalent of an open source LAMP stack for AI. Admittedly, however, putting stacks together, or even using them, isn't everyone's cup of tea either. This is why open source does not necessarily mean DIY, and there is lots of room for both creators and third parties to offer value-add services. This pattern has played out before in open source, from WordPress to databases and operational systems, and may well play out in AI. Open source wins out in the end, but you always see proprietary services in the beginning, is how he summarized his stance. Jeffries is also a proponent of a laissez-faire approach to AI. His argument is that it's not really possible to foresee issues, and the only way to deal with them is to deploy AI systems, see what happens and then apply remedies. As for bad actors, they will be caught and punished. Another talking point was about the value of content being driven down, which is something Jeffries broadly disagrees with. He believes that in the same way that WordPress made publishing websites easier for everyone, generative AI will make publishing content easier for everyone, and that's a good thing. Those are points in which our views diverge significantly. Lowering the bar to content production is already leading to the enshittification of content. It is misrepresenting people's ability as content producers. It is also overloading content consumers and making them susceptible to fabricated content, wittingly or unwittingly. I also don't think that having a piece of software that assists in getting content published is comparable to having a piece of software that generates the content you are publishing. Where myself and Jeffries find ourselves in agreement is on the importance of business models. Jeffries spoke about the importance of having a well-defined business model from the get-go. A lot of companies out there are looking at things like, well, we're just going to do research or we're just going to train up the model, and that's not an effective way to build a product, Jeffries said. Jeffries also provided examples as well as practical advice ranging from how to use Stable Diffusion to how to train generative AI models. It was a perfect introduction to the What's New in AI series. The recording is available on O'Reilly, so feel free to check it out for more insights.
Thanks for sticking around. For more stories like this, check the link in bio and follow Link Data Orchestration.